She discovered her fiancé was cheating on her, so at his championship game, in front of 30,000 people, she grabbed the rival team's captain and kissed him just to humiliate her fiancé. The problem? When she pulled back, his eyes had turned amber, and he said she had just made a mistake she couldn't undo, because now she belonged to him. Welcome to Love Under the Full Moon. Tell us your name and where you're listening from today. The stadium roared with the energy of 30,000 fans as the championship game between the Silvercrest Stallions and the Ridgemont Ravens reached its final inning. The summer air hung thick with anticipation, charged with the kind of electricity that made every heartbeat feel like thunder. Vivian Hartley sat in the front row behind home plate, exactly where Tyler had insisted she always sit. She wore his jersey, number 17, stretched across her chest like a brand of ownership. 2 years of wearing his number, 2 years of smiling for cameras, 2 years of believing every word that fell from his perfect, lying lips. Her phone burned against her thigh, the screen still showing the messages she had discovered that morning. Messages between her fiancé and Megan Cross, the team's physical therapist. 3 months. They had been sneaking around for 3 months while she addressed wedding invitations with trembling hands full of excitement. "Can't wait to feel you tonight, baby," Megan had written, and Tyler's response, "Viv's going to her mother's this weekend. We'll have the whole apartment. Wear that red thing I like." The red lingerie. Vivian had bought that for Tyler to give to Megan. She had wrapped it herself. Her hands trembled as she watched Tyler at bat, his confident stance radiating the easy arrogance that had first attracted her. He glanced toward her section and blew a kiss, that familiar smile spreading across his handsome face. The crowd cheered. They saw a devoted athlete acknowledging his beautiful fiancée. They didn't see the rage building behind her carefully composed expression. The Ravens were winning by 1 run. Last inning, last chance for the Stallions. Vivian's eyes drifted to the opposing team's dugout, where their captain stood with arms crossed over his broad chest. Dark hair falling across his forehead, an intensity that made her skin prickle with awareness she didn't understand. Callum Blackwood. Everyone in Ridgemont knew his name, the youngest captain in Ravens history. There were rumors about him, whispered across both cities, that he was strange, that he lived alone in the old Blackwood estate, that no one had ever seen him with anyone at all. Some people said he wasn't quite human. Tyler swung and connected. The ball sailed toward left field. The crowd erupted as he sprinted toward first base, but the ball was caught at the warning track. Tyler was out. The game ended. Ravens win, 4-3. Something in Vivian cracked. She found herself standing and walking toward the field, toward the Ravens' dugout. She didn't have a plan. She just knew she couldn't go back to pretending. The security guard let her through with her VIP pass. She walked across the grass, heading towards something that felt inevitable. Callum Blackwood was accepting congratulations when he suddenly went still. His head turned slowly in her direction, and even from 20 feet away she could see his nostrils flare, could see something shift behind his dark eyes. His teammates parted around him, creating a clear path between them. Vivian stopped 3 feet away. Up close, he was devastating. Sharp jaw, high cheekbones, eyes so dark they seemed to absorb light. He stared at her without speaking, waiting. She heard Tyler's voice calling her name, confused and irritated. She thought about all the nights she had waited for him, all the excuses she had swallowed. And then, without thinking about consequences, Vivian grabbed the collar of Callum's jersey, pulled him down and kissed him. The world exploded. Heat erupted through her body like wildfire, starting where her lips met his. This wasn't just a kiss. It was something else entirely. Her heartbeat stuttered and restarted in a rhythm she had never felt before. Syncing with another heartbeat, she could somehow feel pulsing against her awareness. Callum's hands gripped her waist, pulling her closer. A sound escaped his throat. something between a growl and a groan. When Vivian finally pulled back, gasping, she looked into his face. His eyes were glowing, actually literally glowing amber gold, pulsing with inner light. And as she stared into that impossible glow, she felt something shift inside her own skull, something that had been sleeping suddenly stirring awake. The crowd had gone silent. 30,000 people holding their breath. Callum's voice was rough when he spoke. "Do you have any idea what you just did?" She couldn't answer. She heard Tyler screaming her name, felt the weight of thousands of stares pressing down on her. Callum leaned closer, lips brushing her ear. "You just made a mistake you can't take back." Panic flooded through her. She saw Tyler pushing through the crowd, his face twisted with fury, saw cameras flashing, and she ran. She pulled free and fled, pushing through the crowd, ignoring Tyler's shouts. She ran until she reached her car, until she was speeding away from the stadium. In her rearview mirror, she could have sworn she saw a figure standing motionless at the edge of the lot, watching her flee. But when she blinked, the space was empty. What had she done? The apartment felt contaminated when Vivian stumbled through the door. She moved mechanically, stuffing Tyler's belongings into garbage bags. His clothes, his watch, his cologne that now made her stomach turn. By 2 a.m, she had erased every trace of him. Sleep should have come easily, but every time she closed her eyes, she saw them. Golden eyes, glowing like amber fire, and she felt it again. That kiss. That impossible electric connection that had felt like recognition, like destiny, which was insane. She had kissed a stranger to hurt her cheating fiancé. That was all. But the heat spreading through her body said otherwise, starting in her chest, radiating outward, growing stronger by the minute. Vivienne finally fell asleep around 4, only to be jolted awake 2 hours later by nausea so intense she barely made it to the bathroom. She knelt on the cold tile, shaking and sweating. The symptoms only intensified. Waves of heat alternated with bone-deep chills. Her muscles ached, her skin felt too tight, and the dreams. Every time she closed her eyes, she was running. Not as herself, but as something with 4 legs and fur, running through forests under moons close enough to touch, and always golden eyes watching from the shadows. By Sunday evening she had diagnosed herself with everything from malaria to brain tumors. Nothing explained the sharpening senses. The way she could hear her neighbor's conversation through the walls, the way colors seemed brighter and smells seemed stronger. Monday morning, she forced herself to the Moonlight Brew Cafe 3 blocks away. She needed normalcy, needed to pretend she was functional, even if she felt like she was falling apart. The walk felt like climbing a mountain. Every step sent pain through her joints. Sunlight stabbed at her eyes. By the time she pushed through the cafe door, she was trembling so badly she gripped the counter to stay upright. "Vivienne?" Sarah, the barista, leaned forward. "You look terrible." "Just fighting a bug," she lied. "Large coffee, strongest you have." She settled at her usual table, hands shaking over her laptop. "Focus," she told herself. "You've worked through worse." But it wasn't just stress. Something had been wrong since that kiss at the stadium, since his eyes had glowed gold. She was halfway through an email when she felt it. Relief washing over her like a cool wave. The pain receded. The trembling stopped. For the first time in days, she could breathe. Vivian looked up, already knowing what she would see. Callum Blackwood stood in the doorway, dark eyes fixed on her. He was dressed casually, dark jeans and a grey Henley, but he carried himself with commanding presence. Like the air itself, rearranged to accommodate him. He walked to her table without permission and sat across from her. "You ran," he said quietly. "I don't know you. I kissed a stranger to hurt my fiancé. That's all it was. Is that what you tell yourself?" He leaned forward, close enough that she could smell him, pine and wood smoke and something wild. Then why did you feel what you felt? Why are you sick when I'm not near you? Why can you suddenly hear the conversation at the counter even though they're whispering? Her blood ran cold. How did he know? You can hear them, he continued. You can probably smell the cinnamon in their coffee. Your eyes are more sensitive. Your body aches like it's trying to become something else. And every time you close your eyes, you dream of running. Everything he said was true, but how could he possibly know? What did you do to me? She whispered. I didn't do anything. You did this. When you kissed me, you initiated something you don't understand. The cafe door opened. Vivian's stomach dropped as Tyler walked in, eyes moving from her to Callum and back, his face twisted with fury. You have got to be kidding me. Tyler crossed the cafe in angry strides. What the hell is going on? You humiliate me in front of the entire stadium, you won't answer my calls, and now I find you with him? Keep your voice down, Vivian said coldly. Do you have any idea what you've done? The videos are everywhere. My sponsors are calling. You made me look like a complete fool. Made you look like a fool. The words came out sharp. That's rich coming from the man sleeping with Megan Cross for 3 months. Tyler's face went pale. I know about Megan. I know about the texts. I know about the red lingerie I bought that you gave to her, so don't talk to me about humiliation. His expression cycled through shock, guilt, fear, then anger. You went through my phone. That's your response? I find out you've been cheating and your concern is privacy. Tyler's eyes darted to Callum. And what? You're with this guy now? This doesn't concern you, Callum said quietly, but his voice carried weight that made Tyler step back. The lady and I were having a conversation. She throws herself at you in front of 30,000 people, and now you're having conversations. Callum stood. He was taller than Tyler by 4 inches, somehow taking up twice as much space. Walk away, right now. Before you do something you'll regret. Is that a threat? I know exactly who you are. A man who had something precious and threw it away for nothing. A man who doesn't deserve the air she breathes. The tension crackled between them. Other customers stared, phones recording. This isn't over, Tyler said, backing away. You think you can just walk away from 2 years, Vivian? Watch me. Tyler's face contorted. He pointed at both of them, then stormed out, the door slamming behind him. Silence. Then Sarah whistled. Well, that was entertaining. Vivian's hands were shaking. Thank you for what you said. I meant every word. The intensity of his gaze made her flush. About what you said before, about what happened when we kissed. What does that mean? It's complicated, not something I can explain here. Callum's expression shifted. But your ex-boyfriend is sitting in his car across the street watching us. Sure enough, Tyler's silver BMW was parked outside, his eyes fixed on them. I have an idea, Callum said. He thinks you've left him for me. That's why he's angry. So let's give him what he expects. Let's make him believe we're together. A few weeks of seeing you happy, and he'll move on. She should have said no. Fake relationships never worked. But she thought about how her body felt near Callum. The way the pain disappeared, the way his presence made her stronger. Okay, let's do it. Then we should make it convincing. He's still watching. Before she could respond, Callum cupped her face in his hands. His touch was warm, sending electricity across her skin. He leaned forward slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. He kissed her. This kiss was different, soft, intentional. His lips moved against hers with deliberate care, and Vivian felt herself melting into it, despite every rational objection. When he pulled back, her heart was pounding. That should convince him, Callum murmured. Was that okay? She nodded, not trusting her voice because it had been more than okay. The connection she felt, the same impossible surge from the stadium. It terrified her. Something was very wrong. Or maybe something was finally right. That night, Vivian couldn't shake the second kiss. The way she had felt his emotions, fragments of thoughts that weren't hers. She had sensed a hunger that wasn't for food. Impossible. This was all impossible. She tried to sleep, but the fever returned with force the moment she was alone. Worse than before, the tremors, the nausea, her skin burning. At 3 in the morning, she stumbled out to find a pharmacy. The night air barely registered against her fever. She made it 1 block before her legs stopped working. The sidewalk rushed up. She threw out her hands, felt concrete scrape her palms, and darkness closed around her vision. This is it, she thought. This is how I die. She heard footsteps, running impossibly fast. Then arms lifted her from the ground. The moment his skin touched hers, the pain receded. "I told you," Callum's voice said, rough with emotion. "I told you not to run from me." "What's happening to me?" she managed to whisper. "You're changing, and I waited too long to explain." Changing into what? He was already moving, carrying her through empty streets with supernatural speed. "Into what you were always meant to be," she heard him say, before consciousness slipped away. "Into mine." Vivian woke in a bed that wasn't hers, in a room from another century. Heavy curtains, dark wood furniture, a fire crackling in an enormous stone fireplace, and she felt fine. Better than fine. Her body hummed with energy, her senses sharp in a way that should have been impossible. "You're awake." Callum sat in an armchair by the window. He looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes. "You've been asleep for almost 20 hours. I wasn't sure if you would wake up. Where am I? My home, the Blackwood estate." She sat up slowly, realizing she wore a soft cotton shirt far too large for her. His shirt. "What happened to me?" "No more deflecting. I need to understand." He moved to the window, revealing vast forests stretching to distant mountains. "What I'm about to tell you will change everything. Once you know, you can't unknow it. I'm already changing. I just need to understand what I'm becoming." He turned. In the light, his eyes shifted from brown to molten gold. "What I'm about to show you will answer everything, but promise you won't run, no matter what you see." Every instinct screamed to flee, but another voice whispered, "Stay." Mine. Finally. "I promise." Callum stepped back, his bones cracked, his muscles rippled, his jaw elongated, teeth sharpening. Fur erupted across his skin until the man was gone. In his place stood a wolf, massive, black as midnight, eyes glowing like twin suns. Vivian should have screamed, should have run. Instead, she reached out and laid her palm against his muzzle. His fur was soft, warm, alive, and when her skin made contact, the connection surged stronger than ever. "Werewolf," she whispered. The wolf made a sound of agreement, and somewhere deep inside Vivian, something stretched its jaws wide and howled. Callum shifted back, pulling on clothes with efficient movements. Vivian watched in silence. "Werewolves," she said. "Actual werewolves. That exist. We've existed for millennia, long before humans built cities. We were here first. And you're one of them. The term we prefer is wolf, or lichen." A slight smile. "Werewolf sounds like a horror movie. How do you exist without anyone knowing? We're careful. We have rules, packs that police their own." His gaze grew distant. "Humanity has hunted us before. We learned from those mistakes." "Packs? With alphas and betas?" "Something like that. I'm an alpha, the alpha of this territory. The Blackwood Pack has held these lands for over 300 years. Leader of the wolves. Leader of my people. About 200 of us in Ridgemont alone. We have businesses, families, normal lives. We play baseball and go to grocery stores like everyone else. Why tell me this? His expression became serious, more vulnerable. Because of what happened at the stadium. When you kissed me, you triggered a bond we call the mate connection. Among wolves, there's a belief that every soul has a perfect match, a fated partner. Most wolves never find their mate. And you're saying I'm yours? When your lips touched mine, every instinct recognized you. My wolf knew you immediately. The bond snapped into place like lightning. His voice dropped. I've been waiting over 3 decades for you. I had almost given up hope. The weight of his words pressed on her chest. She thought about the connection during the kiss, her body's response to his presence, the illness when apart. The sickness, she said slowly. The bond was initiated, but not completed. Your body is caught between 2 states. That's why you feel better when I'm near. When I leave, your system goes into crisis. Can you complete it? Yes, but completing it would bind us for life. It's not a decision to make lightly. And if we don't? His silence was answer enough. I'll die, she whispered. I don't know. Nothing like this has happened before. Bonds between wolves and humans are rare. Vivian moved to the window, looking at the endless forest, an entire world she had never known about. There's more, Callum said quietly. Your eyes glowed the night you collapsed. Gold, like a wolf's eyes when we shift. She turned sharply. That's impossible. I'm human. Are you certain? She thought about the dreams, running on 4 legs, howling at moons, the sharpening senses, the voice growing louder, purring when Callum was near. My mother, she said slowly. She died when I was 3. At least, that's what they told me. But my sister Iris once overheard our grandmother talking. Something about our mother disappearing. The official story wasn't quite right. We have archives, records documenting every pack, every bloodline. If your mother was one of us, there might be something. You would help me find out? I would help you with anything. You're my mate, Vivian. Your questions are my questions. She looked at this man who had been a stranger a week ago and now held her life in his hands. I'm scared. I don't understand what's happening. I don't know if I can be part of this world. Callum reached out, fingers brushing her cheek. The touch sent electricity through her. You don't have to have all the answers. The bond chose you. My wolf chose you, and I'm choosing you too. The door flew open. A tall, elegant woman with silver-streaked dark hair stood there, eyes holding the same golden potential as Callum's. Mother, I wasn't expecting you until tomorrow. I heard you brought a human into our home. The woman's voice was ice. I had to see for myself. Vivian is my mate. Your mate is human. Do you understand what that means? What the other packs will say? Golden eyes swept over Vivian with dismissal. No offense, dear, but you have no idea what you've stumbled into. If my son had any sense, he would have let you die. The words hit like physical blows, but before Vivian could respond, something shifted inside her. That voice, the one growing stronger, it didn't like being dismissed, didn't like being called a liability. And for the first time, Vivian felt it rise up inside her chest, felt it growl. The sound that emerged from Vivian's throat was not human. Low and resonant. A warning. The kind of sound that said back off in a language older than words. Evangeline Blackwood's eyes widened. Impossible. Callum had gone still, but beneath his surprise was something else. Pride. What was that? Vivian's voice came out doubled, like 2 of her speaking. That, Evangeline said slowly, was a wolf. Only wolves can make that sound. Humans can't produce it. Mother, Callum warned, I'm re-evaluating. Evangeline circled Vivian. When they told me you'd brought home a human, I assumed the worst. But you're growling like a wolf defending territory, despite never shifting. She stopped, golden eyes meeting Vivian's. "Which means either I'm wrong, or you're not as human as you appear." "We've discussed this," Callum said. "There may be wolf blood in her lineage." "What was your mother's name?" Evangeline interrupted. "Celeste Hartley, but she died when I was 3. "Celeste." Evangeline's voice changed. Recognition, shock. "Your mother's name was Celeste." She strode toward the door. "Callum, the archive room, now both of you." They followed through endless corridors until they reached heavy wooden doors. Inside was a room that took Vivian's breath away. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, display cases of ancient artifacts, a massive table covered in genealogical charts. "I've spent 40 years studying our history," Evangeline said, pulling down a leather volume. "Every bloodline, every pack. I knew the name sounded familiar." She pointed to a page of small handwriting, a family tree spanning centuries. The Moonfell Pack, one of the oldest bloodlines in North America, established in the 1700s, known for wolves of unusual power, silver coats, enhanced abilities. Some said they had direct connection to the moon goddess. What happened to them? Evangeline's face grew somber. 27 years ago, there was a massacre. The Ashfords, a rival pack, decided the Moonfells had grown too powerful. They attacked during a new moon. Nearly everyone was killed. Nearly? A handful escaped, among them the Luna, who had just given birth. Evangeline looked up. Her name was Celeste Moonfell. The room tilted. Vivian gripped the table. "My mother was a wolf. Not just any wolf. The Luna of one of the most powerful packs in history. The last Moonfell heir." Evangeline's voice was grave. "She fled with her newborn and disappeared into the human world. She hid me, gave me to my father, a human who could raise me without anyone knowing." Vivian's throat tightened. "Then she died, when I was 3. How? Car accident. But now I'm wondering if it was really an accident." "This changes everything," Callum said. "Yes. If Vivian is truly Moonfell heir, she's not just a mate bond complication. She's a political earthquake." "What do you mean?" "The Ashfords, the pack that massacred the Moonfells. They're still powerful. Their current alpha is Knox Ashford. He's been claiming old Moonfell territories for 25 years. If there's a living heir," Callum continued, "those claims become invalid. Territories he would kill to keep." The weight pressed down on Vivian's shoulders. An hour ago she was dealing with werewolves existing. Now she was apparently heir to a murdered dynasty, mate to an alpha, and target of a powerful enemy. "I need air." She fled to a massive terrace overlooking the forest. Night air hit her, cool and filled with scents she had never noticed before. Pine, earth, distant water, electric charge of an approaching storm. Her senses had never been this sharp. She was changing, her mother's blood finally waking up. "You have every right to be overwhelmed." Callum stood in the doorway. "Overwhelmed doesn't cover it. I know, I wish I could make this easier." "Can you?" He moved beside her at the railing. "I can promise you're not alone. Whatever comes next, you'll face it with full support of the Blackwood Pack, with my support. Because I'm your mate, because you're you. I didn't choose the bond, neither did you, but I'm choosing to honor it. Not because destiny demands it, but because every moment with you makes me more certain you're extraordinary." Tears pricked her eyes. "You don't even know me. Then let me learn. Let me earn the right to call you mine." She looked at this wolf, this stranger who had become the center of her transforming world. Every logical part screamed this was too fast, too strange. But there was another part now, one that looked at Callum and recognized something essential. Home. "Okay, I'll stay. I'll figure out what I am." Somewhere in the distance a wolf howled, then another, a chorus rising into the night sky. Vivien's blood answered, a stirring in her chest, a resonance she had never felt. She wasn't human, not entirely, perhaps never had been. And for the first time, that thought didn't terrify her. It thrilled her. 3 weeks passed in a blur of discovery. Vivian learned to navigate the estate. She met pack members, wolves who regarded her with curiosity and suspicion that gradually faded into acceptance, perhaps even respect. Callum was beside her through all of it, patient, teaching her wolf society rules and hierarchies. And slowly, almost without noticing, Vivienne found herself falling for him, not because of the bond, because of who he was. The quiet strength when dealing with pack disputes, the gentle humor when alone. The way he looked at her like she was the most precious thing in his world. Her wolf was growing stronger, a constant presence beneath her skin. She hadn't shifted yet, but she was getting closer. Every day, the barrier between her human self and wolf self grew thinner. "You're thinking too hard," Callum said, watching her try to trigger her shift for the past hour. "Transforming into a wolf requires thought." Actually, the opposite. Shifting is emotional, instinctive. Your wolf knows how. You just have to stop fighting her. "I'm not fighting." Yes, you are. Part of you is still afraid, still holding on to human identity like a security blanket. His hands cupped her face. "But you can be both. Human and wolf aren't mutually exclusive. What if I can't control it? Then I'll be right here. I'll guide you through." His golden eyes held unwavering certainty. "I won't let you get lost." Before she could respond, Ronan appeared, expression grim. "Alpha, we have a situation." Scouts picked up unknown wolves at the eastern border. They left an official challenge request. From who? Knox Ashford. The name hit Vivian like a blow. "He knows about me. Word travels fast. I'm surprised it took this long." Callum turned to Ronan. "What are the terms?" "Standard territorial dispute. Single combat. Alpha to alpha." Ronan hesitated. "But he's not just challenging for territory. He's challenging for the mate bond." "What?" "Old law. If an alpha defeats another in challenge, he can claim any uncompleted mate bonds. He's using your bond with Vivian as leverage." Rage erupted through the bond so intensely, Vivian stumbled. Callum's fury, not hers. "That will never happen." "The challenge has been officially issued. Refusing would—" "I'm not refusing. When?" "Full moon. 3 days." 3 days, until Callum had to fight the most dangerous alpha on the continent. "Can you beat him?" she asked. Callum was quiet. "Knox is older, more experienced. Alpha longer than I've been alive. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. I will do everything in my power to win." But she felt the truth beneath his words, the uncertainty, the fear not for himself, but for her. That night she couldn't sleep, watching the nearly full moon. They hadn't completed the bond yet. Every night the pull grew stronger. But Callum insisted on waiting until she was comfortable. Now she wondered if they would ever get the chance. "Vivienne, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to wake you. I felt you leave. The bond makes it impossible to sleep when you're not near." She leaned into his warmth. "I'm scared, not just of losing you. I'm scared this is all my fault. If I hadn't kissed you, then I would have lived, never knowing what I was missing." His hand brushed hair from her face. "You're not a mistake. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. You might die because of me. I would gladly die to protect you, but I'm not planning to. I'm planning to defeat Knox and spend the next 100 years showing you how much you're worth." 100 years? Wolves live longer than humans. If you complete the bond, you'll share that longevity. We could have centuries together. Centuries, not decades. Centuries of loving this man. Callum, I want to complete the bond before the challenge. Not because I'm scared of losing you to Nox. Because I'm done waiting. Every day makes me more certain this is right. She touched his face. I choose you, not the bond choosing. Me, making a conscious decision. You're sure? I have never been more sure of anything. His control shattered. He kissed her with desperation, carrying her to bed, and as the moon rose higher, they finally completed what had been started with an impulsive kiss. The bond snapped fully into place. Suddenly, she could feel everything. Callum's heartbeat, his emotions, joy and desire and overwhelming love, his wolf vast and powerful, wrapping around her consciousness protectively, and she could feel herself completely for the first time, human and wolf, fear and courage, all woven together into something whole. My mate, Callum murmured, my Vivian, my everything. The day before the challenge, Vivian had a visitor. She was in the library when Iris slipped inside, her sister, familiar brown hair and wide green eyes. You left like 17 clues, Viv. Plus that viral video of you kissing some baseball player is everywhere. Iris hugged her fiercely. You're my only family. For a month, you've been acting like you joined a cult. It's not a cult. Then what is it? Vivian hesitated. Everything about Wolf's secrecy screamed to lie, but looking at her sister's face, the fear and love there, she couldn't. You should sit down. An hour later, Iris was pale but understanding. So, werewolves are real. You're one or half. The guy you kissed is your mystical soulmate. Tomorrow he fights some alpha who might want you dead because our mother, who apparently wasn't human, belonged to a massacred pack. That covers it. Cool. I'm going to need 17 shots of something strong. Iris laughed, slightly hysterical. Also, this is the coolest thing ever. Secret wolf heritage, evil villains. It's like a movie. A movie where I might lose the man I love. Iris's grin faded. Is there anything I can do? That night, they went to the archives together. If there were answers about their heritage, any advantages, they would be found here. Look at this, Iris said around midnight, pointing to a crumbling journal. The Moonfell bloodline. They had a specific ability. Vivian read, The wolves of Moonfell carry the light of the moon in their blood. In times of greatest need, when the pack is threatened, the Luna can call upon that light to heal what has been broken and protect what might be lost. What does that mean? This gift has been documented only 3 times. Each required the full emergence of the Moonfell air, combined with a complete mate bond and the light of the full moon. Full emergence, Iris repeated, like shifting for the first time. The challenge is tomorrow night. Full moon. Callum and I completed our bond. If I could shift during the challenge, you might help him somehow, or I might just distract him and get him killed. Maybe you've been trying to shift the wrong way. You said it's emotional. Maybe you need the right trigger, like the man you love being in mortal danger. Maybe her sister was right. Maybe fear would become something useful. The challenge took place in a clearing deep in the forest. 2 packs faced each other, Blackwoods on one side, and across, strangers with hard eyes. The Ashfords. At their center stood Nox, tall and broad, silver streaking his dark hair, eyes burning amber. Power radiated from him in waves. He smiled when he saw Vivian. So this is the lost Moonfell princess. I didn't believe the rumors. But those eyes, those are Celeste's eyes. You knew my mother. Knew her. I killed her. Well, I gave the order. She was the last loose end from 27 years ago. Couldn't have her raising a pup who might seek revenge. Rage exploded through Vivian, not just hers, but Callum's, flooding through the bond. You're a monster! I'm a survivor. The Moonfells were too powerful. I did what was necessary. Nox spread his arms. Look at us now. The Ashfords are dominant. The Moonfells are a cautionary tale. The Moonfells aren't gone. Callum stepped forward. Their heir stands with us. When I defeat you tonight, their legacy will be restored. Brave words from a boy who's never faced a real challenge. I've killed 17 alphas. You'll be 18. I accept your challenge. The winner claims victory. The loser dies. They shifted simultaneously. Callum's wolf was black as midnight, eyes blazing gold. Nox's was larger, silver-grey, scarred from countless battles. For a heartbeat, silence. Then they collided and the world dissolved into violence. Two massive wolves tore at each other, blood sprayed across grass. Snarls and the terrible crack of impact filled the night. Callum was good, fast, clever, using Nox's size against him. But Nox was relentless. Every wound only made him angrier. He was wearing Callum down, trading injuries for time. "He's losing," Iris whispered. "Viv, he's losing." She felt it through the bond. Callum's determination was unwavering, but his body was failing. Too many wounds, too much blood. A vicious strike sent Callum tumbling. He scrambled up, but slower, limping, blood matting his black fur. Nox circled him, eyes gleaming with triumph. Time to end this. He lunged for Callum's throat. Vivian didn't think. She just moved. The shift happened without her noticing. 1 second human, the next, wolf. She was smaller but fast. The world blurred as she crossed the clearing in 3 bounds, her white-silver coat gleaming in moonlight. She hit Nox from the side, just as his jaws were closing on Callum's throat. They tumbled. Nox recovered first, eyes widening with shock at the silver wolf between him and his prey. Impossible! You've never shifted before. You can't control... Vivian lunged. She operated on pure instinct, her wolf's guidance, the overwhelming need to protect her mate. Her teeth found Nox's shoulder, tearing through muscle. He howled and threw her off, but she landed on her feet. "Vivian, no!" Callum's voice, human again. "If you interfere—" The challenge was alpha to alpha. Nox spat, blood dripping. "By interfering, she's forfeited protection. I can kill her without consequence." "Then you'll have to go through me first." Callum shifted again, placing himself between Vivian and Nox, but she felt how weak he was. "No." Her voice emerged as a growl, but somehow intelligible. "This isn't just your fight. It was never just your fight. This monster killed my mother, slaughtered my entire bloodline. He doesn't get to destroy my new family too." "Touching," Nox sneered. "But pointless." "Maybe. But you've never faced a Moonfell on the night of a full moon." She threw back her head and howled. The sound was unlike anything she had ever heard, not just a wolf's cry, pure moonlight given voice, echoing across the clearing, the forest, the entire world. Light exploded from her body, silver radiance poured from her fur, her eyes, the ring that blazed like a captured star. It washed over Callum first. His wounds began closing, torn flesh knitting, strength flooding back. The light spread outward, touching every Blackwood wolf. Healing injuries, restoring energy. Then it reached Nox. He screamed, not pain, but terror. The light didn't heal him. It revealed him. Every dark deed, every cruel act suddenly visible. "What are you doing?" "Justice." Her voice carried echoes of every Moonfell who had come before. "For the lives you took, for the families you destroyed." The light intensified. Nox collapsed. Not dead, but broken. His wolf form shattered, leaving only the man. "Yield," Vivian commanded, "and I will let you live." "Never. I will never yield to a Moonfell. Then you will die." But it was Callum who spoke, fully healed, standing over his enemy. "Not as punishment for challenging me, as justice for the massacre, for the murder of Vivian's mother. The old laws are changing tonight. A new era begins, one where power doesn't excuse atrocity." His jaws closed on Nox's throat. A single, merciful bite. Silence fell. Then Ashford wolves began to kneel, acknowledging defeat. Vivienne shifted back, swaying as power drained from her. Callum caught her. "You impossible woman! You absolute miracle! I couldn't let him kill you. You saved more than my life. You changed everything. The Moonfell power hasn't manifested in centuries. Wolves across the continent will hear about this. Is that good or bad? I don't know yet, but we'll face it together." In the chaos that followed, one detail was almost forgotten. Tyler Brennan had come to the challenge. He appeared at the clearing's edge with a gun in trembling hands. Silver bullets, illegal among wolves, fatal to any lichen. He must have made a deal with Nox. "You think you can transform into some monster and forget about me?" His voice cracked with hysteria. "You think you can humiliate me and walk away into your fairy tale? Tyler, put the gun down. Don't tell me what to do. You destroyed my life. My career is over." "You destroyed your own life when you cheated," Callum said calmly. "Shut up!" Tyler's finger tightened on the trigger. "She was mine. I was never yours. I was never anyone's property. You were supposed to love me. I did love you, and you threw it away. Maybe killing you won't change that, but it will make me feel better." He fired. The world slowed. Vivienne saw the muzzle flash, heard the crack of gunpowder, felt the silver bullet racing toward her heart. Then Callum was there, moving impossibly fast, putting himself between her and death. The impact spun him sideways. He collapsed with a sound that would haunt her nightmares. "No!" She fell to her knees, pressing hands against the wound, feeling hot blood pulse between her fingers. "Callum, stay with me." The Bond was screaming. His pain flooded through her. He was dying. "Vivienne," he gasped. "Run! He'll shoot again. I'm not leaving you." Another gunshot, followed by a human scream. Ronan had tackled Tyler. Other wolves secured the fallen human. "The bullet is silver." Evangeline was suddenly there. "It's killing him. Remove it before—" "I know." The same power that had healed Callum during battle was still inside her. But there was a cost. The archives had been clear. Every great healing required sacrifice. "Whatever it takes, I'm not losing you." She closed her eyes and reached for the power. It came reluctantly, tired from earlier. But it came, flowing from somewhere deep, through the Bond, into her mate's broken body. The silver bullet resisted, fighting like a living thing. Vivienne pushed harder. Blood dripped from her nose. Pain lanced through her skull. "Vivienne, stop! You're killing yourself!" She didn't stop. Couldn't stop. Not with Callum's heartbeat growing fainter. "I am not losing you. We have centuries ahead of us. You promised me centuries, Callum Blackwood." The power surged. Not just hers now, but every Blackwood wolf in the clearing channeled through her. With a final push, the silver bullet dislodged. The wound began to close. Callum's heartbeat stabilized. Vivienne collapsed forward onto his healed chest, his arms wrapped around her immediately. "You impossible, stubborn, magnificent woman. Told you. Not losing you. You almost killed yourself. Worth it. I love you. I love you too. Now and for the next 100 years. 100 years of you is not going to be nearly enough. Then we'll find a way to make it last forever." Surrounded by pack and family, bathed in full moonlight, Vivienne closed her eyes and let herself rest. She had found her place, her people, her mate. She was finally home. 3 months later, the world looked completely different. Vivienne stood on the terrace of the Blackwood estate, watching the sun set over forest, painted in autumn gold and crimson. So much had changed. Nox's defeat had sent shockwaves through the wolf world. Old power structures toppled. The Ashford pack splintered. The Moonfell lands had been restored to their rightful heir. Justice for a massacre that happened before she was born. Tyler had been banished, stripped of memories, returned to the human world under permanent surveillance. She didn't care about Tyler anymore. A chapter that had ended. Deep thoughts? Callum approached with 2 glasses of wine. Fully healed, only a faint scar remaining. Just reflecting on how different everything is. Different, good or bad. Different, amazing. I have family, a pack, a sister who can shift now and won't stop making dog jokes. Iris's awakening had been one of the surprises. The Moonfell blood ran strong in both sisters. She was somewhere in the forest, running with younger wolves. And you have me, Callum added. My mate, my alpha, the man who almost died for me. You almost died first, during the battle. Guess that makes us even. Comfortable silence, watching the last sunlight disappear. Stars emerging. I've been thinking, Callum said. Dangerous for an alpha. He snorted. About the future. I want to make it official. We're mated, bonded. But I want the ceremony. Formal recognition before both packs. I want every wolf to know you're mine, and I'm yours. Callum. I know it's fast. We've only known each other months. But I've spent 30 years waiting for you. I don't want to wait anymore. He pulled out a ring. White gold with a single diamond catching starlight. Marry me. Be my Luna officially. Let me spend my very long life showing you how much you mean to me. She should have hesitated. Instead, she laughed, bright and joyful. Yes, 1,000 times yes. He slipped the ring onto her finger beside the Moonfell silver, then kissed her with passion that still stole her breath. Looking up at the full moon, the same moon that had witnessed her transformation, Vivian smiled. I love you. I'll never get tired of saying it. My mate, my Luna, my Vivian. In the distance, wolves howled, then a chorus rising into the night sky. Vivian threw back her head and let her own howl join them. Callum did the same, their voices intertwining in harmony. She had started this journey trying to hurt the man who had hurt her, kissed a stranger out of spite. But that kiss hadn't been a mistake. It had been the beginning. Some mistakes aren't really mistakes at all. Some mistakes are just destiny wearing a disguise. And Vivian's destiny was only just beginning. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this beautiful love story. Let us know what you thought of this tale full of emotions and surprises. Tell us your name, where you're watching from, and rate this story from 0 to 10 if it touched your heart. And if you enjoyed the plot, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the amazing new stories coming soon. Until next time, may you find someone who sees all your versions and chooses every single one.